Me and three other special people. Then we went I drove a Almond Daryl.
I told my mom, she said, sit down. So yeah, I was like, yeah, she was like, she also is not tech savvy. So she was like,
I know the person. Okay, no. Even though like I don't want to be right now. After this, I will talk to her. She lives no insurance. Doesn't matter. All I keep her. Maybe how long it's gonna be her boss. So she's gonna be. Well, it doesn't matter. And so, I suggested that. Yeah. I know.
Again, thank you all for being here. I hope you're enjoying your meal tonight. It's nice to be back face to face, in person, to be able to celebrate the great work that our interns have done. Students complete impactful internships in a real wide variety of locations and fields. And many of them are possible because of partnerships that support our students. Tonight, we will hear from students who earned the stipend for completing an unpaid internship experience, and also from some in programs that completed paid internships. Welcome to the Linfield University Internship Showcase. I'm Christy McKay from the Career Development Office.
And I'm Michael Hampton from the Career Development Office and would like to introduce some very important people. And first, starting with our student interns from this summer's program. Please wave, stand up, make, raise the roof. Yeah. They put a lot of energy into their presentations this evening. And there are some site supervisors from this summer. And if you could please stand up. And then we have some Linfield University guests, Jenny Van Beek, so she's got Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. Zero power. Jeff McKay, who's the Vice President for Student Affairs. Oh, Marcus. Scholarship Advisor from the History Department as well. Kevin Curry and Jennifer Roche from the Journalism and Media Studies. Don Nowacki from Political Science. Thank you. Matt Scholl was here earlier. Donald Weisberg from Psychology Department. All right, thank you for joining us this evening.
One of the programs where we're hearing from our interns is the Community Internships Program. This is an award-winning partnership between First Federal and Linfield University. First Federal is recognized annually by the Portland Business Journal for its commitment to community giving. And Linfield is happy to have partnered with them for the last 13 years with this program. This year, the 4 students in the Community Internships Program completed over 600 hours during their internships with local nonprofits. So thank you to First Federal for continuing their financial commitment in support of Linfield students and Yamhill County nonprofits. Joining us tonight from First Federal, we have Lindsay Liddell, Carol Riley, Sandy Schultz, Tyler Berman, Brent Murray, and Kathy Myers. Thank you for being here. I would like to invite Carol up to talk for a few minutes about this partnership and what it means to First Federal. Woo. Watch your step. We do have a cord across here.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us this evening. This is a great recognition program that we are highly sponsored of. As Christy mentioned, we've been doing it for the last 13 years. As First Federal, we enjoy the sponsorship to allow the students to get out there and enhance our community with the nonprofit organization that we continue to work with. It's kind of a win-win situation all the way around. It gives that student that opportunity to get some stipend and plus just to see what's it going to be like when you have that next job. So lots of energies around this program and the skills that it helps improve are just really important for us. So thank you for all your time and participating in the program.
The students who will present tonight represent funding of almost $30,000 coming from 4 sources. The, First Federal through the Community Internships Program, the Presidential Impact Internship Program sponsored by the Glenn L. and Helen Jackson Endowment, the Debbie Olson Internship Scholarship, and the Career Development Impact Fund.
And the intention of all these funds is to support students in internships and experiences they probably wouldn't be able to do otherwise, because if they're not paid, you have to be making money this summer to go to school and all of those things. And that's what this is all about, to make experiential learning, specifically internships, accessible to all of our students. We are excited to hear their presentations tonight. Career Development facilitated professional development sessions throughout this summer with the goal of inspiring students to embrace a comprehensive approach to their internship. We encourage them to recognize and appreciate the professional development, career exploration, workplace experience, academic relevance, vocational meaning, cultural understanding, and recognize the value of their community engagement through experiential education. Components of the summer session allowed students to develop and manage professional goals, create a mission statement, practice and share their elevator pitches, and complete informational interviews to inform their career understanding. This is what we do in career development, and that's of course part of this whole process. Students had a chance to talk with each other about their successes and challenges in the workplace, strategize approaches to workplace issues, network with each other, and share in celebration about their internship accomplishments. Without further ado, we are going to start with the student presentations.
All right, and Nathan, you are first, so come on up.
Hi, I'm Nathan Brady, and my internship was with Metro Aquatics. They're located in Tacoma, Washington, and my main job with Metro was to serve as the strength coach for the high school group. So I developed the workout programs that were out of the water, and I also performed a project for it, which was tracking vertical jump testing. And then as a side part, I also coached the age group kids, which is pre-high school, anywhere from like 8 to 14 years. So just a little bit about my project. I started off tracking vertical jump and plyometric push-up testing, but with the equipment I had, I soon realized that what I was getting for the push-up didn't have high validity, so I kind of cut that out after a few weeks. But it helped me create a research-supported analysis at the end of the season that I was able to give to the coaches and just let them know how their training is affecting the athletes. And I found 2 key points. The first one was that once the athletes started morning practice, their performance decreased a little bit, and you can kind of see that in this first downward projection. And then when they would have a period of high intense workouts, their performance would also decrease, and that's seen right there. So just giving them that info so they can kind of adapt their workouts in the future just to make sure that they're getting the most out of their athletes. Some of the challenges that I saw, access to equipment was a big one. They did have like good equipment such as dumbbells and medicine balls and everything that you kind of want there, but it was just the amount. There wasn't enough for the amount of kids that there were, but it was just after a few weeks learning to adapt with that and just trying to get the best out of it. Another big challenge was athlete mindset, just because this is kind of the first time they're really getting into weight training. In the past years, they've just been swimming in the water, so they're kind of starting something new. Some were a little bit hesitant, but towards the end of the summer, everyone started to buy into it, and it got a lot better. And then one of the biggest challenges was time management. I soon learned after the first week that I was making workouts that were about an hour and a half when they needed to be 45 minutes. So I learned quickly on the job that I needed to reduce the time that the workouts were taking. And then my educational background, I feel like really helped me with this. Last year, especially last semester, I learned a lot about structuring workout programs and analyzing movement. And so just making sure I was getting the best out of the athletes, really thanks to the education that I got last semester. And then data analysis, like I said, with my project, I have a lot of experience with that. And then critical thinking, just from taking all classes here at Linfield, using that with working with athletes, and then again with the analyzing part of it too. And then finally, the impact that this had on my career. I really learned how much I'm interested in research and collecting data and all of that. That was definitely the most fun I had throughout the internship, was going over that analysis and giving it to the coaches. And it also helped me practice constructing workouts, just analyzing the athletes and seeing how they're adapting to the workouts, and seeing what I need to change. And then finally building relationships with the coaches. Obviously, that will really help me in the future. And some key takeaways, I had some trouble just like trusting myself and trusting my knowledge at the beginning. But I think by asking for advice from the coaches, I was really able to learn that like I did know what I was doing and I just needed to roll with that and know that I was still doing well for the athletes and everything. And then finally, having fun. I think that was a struggle at first just because I didn't really know the athletes that well, so I didn't have that relationship right away. But towards the end, like we were joking around while still obviously getting things done. So it was really great. Those last few weeks were definitely the highlight of the whole summer experience. And then finally, just thanking the coaching staff. They gave me a lot of freedom, like creating analysis. I didn't really expect to be able to do that or for them to ask for it, but they did at the end. So that was great to see. They listened to any advice that I gave, as well as giving me advice. And they trusted me with higher up tasks that I didn't really expect at the beginning, but slowly got into. And then I also like to thank my advisor, Cisco Reyes. He provided me with some testing tools that allowed me to do the project. And also before the summer, he kind of helped kickstart my research interest with doing some extra work with the grad students. And then obviously I'd like to thank the Career Development Impact Internship Program for funding. Thank you.
Students who are not able to be with us tonight and have submitted videos. So now we get to hear from.
I am a senior accounting major here at Linfield, and this summer I had the opportunity to intern at Hawaiian Electric, also known as HECO. HECO is Hawaii's largest energy supplier, and they supply approximately 95% of energy to its residents. This company has over 2,000 employees, and I work in a small department in that. I had 3 supervisors and 1 other intern beside me in the Financial Reporting and Compliance Department, also known as FRC. I mostly worked from home, but I did go into the office once a week. Here are some pictures of the office and my views. From working from home, we utilized Skype a lot and we would have weekly Skype meetings. I found it difficult at first to work from home because I wasn't able to visibly see when my advisors were busy and when I'd be able to ask for help. So in the beginning, I hesitated and didn't really ask for any help. I tried to figure things out on my own, and there was one instance where I was working on this one test and I was really confused by the terminology used in the directions. And so I tried to spend a few hours trying to understand it, but in the end, I wasn't able to understand and proceed with the testing. So I messaged one of my advisors for help, and they quickly jumped on a Zoom call and helped me in like a span of 25 minutes. I learned that it's okay to ask questions, and they actually encouraged me to ask a lot of questions. During my time at Hawaiian Electric, something I learned in the field of professionalism would be to be clear. I would have to send document requests out because we were doing auditing. And so when on email, I would say, hi, everybody, please send this document by this specific date, and please CC me and Bryce. And there's one instance where I was unclear, and there was actually 2 Bryces in the email, my supervisor and another Bryce. So the other Bryce quickly emailed me and said if I could clarify on the email that I meant Bryce Iwata. So I learned not to make assumptions and to make things as clear as possible. Also, I utilized my time management from my Linfield education because this was the first full-time job I had, but also tennis is another important aspect of my life. I did try to time manage so I would make it time for work and have practice, and this was successful because of my years of preparation here at Linfield. And this internship helped me with my career direction because before I never really looked at the private sector or CPA route. I was always scared of it. But after doing this internship, I learned that I really liked auditing, and it was very interesting to hear from all my advisors how they thought about this, and it kind of makes me more hopeful and seems like it's more of a possibility. So here's a picture of us. We are missing Bryce Iwata, but this was the 4 of us on our last day. Me, the other intern, and my 2 supervisors. And I'd just like to say thank you to Ninjing, Bryce, and Mika for giving me the opportunity to work with you guys and at such amazing company. Also, an additional thank you to the career development for all of your help, from making me be ready for the interview, preparing me my resume, and helping me decide on what internship to take. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michaela Minton, and I did an internship with the Humboldt County District Attorney's Office. I'm a law rights and justice major and a journalism and media studies minor. So in order to obtain this internship, I submitted a resume, went through a Zoom interview, did about 70 pages of paperwork, which included a background check, which took a lot of my time, and did about 300 unpaid hours. And this also included some daily journaling and assignments for my political science internship class that I'm enrolled in this fall. And some of the daily tasks that I performed was court shadowing, so just following prosecutors down to court and checking in with them in between breaks about what's going on, listening to jail calls and reading jail letters, typing up dismissals for cases that were 4 years older, and anything that's a misdemeanor that's not a PUI is going to be dismissed, and it was the intern's responsibility to type up all the paperwork for that, take it to the DA and get it signed. And then also I typed out transcripts for a lot of body-worn camera footage and jail calls for court. And then also got to write a few legal memos, which usually is a law school student thing, but they let me in on it. So my favorite one was a motion to suppress evidence, because I'm very into the 4th Amendment. And also just some copying and printing office tasks. Some challenges and learning experiences for me. Just learning the court schedules. It's emailed out to you in these huge Excel sheets and posted all over, but navigating that can be really difficult. And attorneys and prosecutors are so busy, you don't want to go up to them and ask them where you're going. And then also just the legal language. And platforms like eCourt and other things to write legal memos. There's all these platforms you have to learn to navigate. And then obviously tedious paperwork and evidence review. I got handed 2 boxes this big full of jail letters for a brutal murder case because no one has time to read that many letters, but it got to be really interesting to get to know everyone involved. And then also like time management, obviously a presentation and addressing well-everyday work. And just learning the formatting of legal paperwork and how the makeup of a file is. It's very specific, so that was interesting to learn. And then lastly, if I had time, studying for the law school admissions test was also on my mind. And I wanted to thank Debbie Olson for this scholarship. It made it really possible for me to be able to somewhat relax and enjoy the experience instead of stressing out about the financial side of doing these 300 hours. And I was also able to obtain a letter of recommendation, important phone numbers, some friends and connections in law school, a lot of professional connections in the DA's office. I even got encouragement to apply for employment from the DA afterwards. So overall, it was a great experience. Thank you so much.
All right, how y'all doing? My name is Samuel Dixon. I'm a 3rd year here at Linfield with a psychology major and a Spanish minor. With my Spanish minor, I do plan to study abroad next spring and to represent the Linfield Wildcats in Spain. So I'm pretty excited for that, but we'll get on that another time. And I forgot to press Okay, so let's just get started with Tony, just describe me a little bit more about my team. So I was fortunate enough to be a part of the Linfield Psychology Research Team this summer. I was interning with two other students at Linfield, one from the McMinnville campus and one from the nursing campus, as well as two professors, one from the Linfield campus or the McMinnville campus and the Portland campus as well. Dr. Kiki Fornero in the nursing campus and Dr. Tanya Tompkins, who is a psychology professor here in McMinnville. And we did a lot of remote research. About 95% of this position was from home on a computer. But when we did meet in person, which I think was one when I was there, we got plenty done and it was a very productive experience. Like bring all our ideas together and stuff. So jumping right into some of the main takeaways of my experience, first and foremost, as a psych major, it's pretty rewarding to check off that research experience box before graduation. So that was pretty cool, and I was excited to talk about that. Using and applying the scientific method was another big one. A lot of us have been learning about the scientific method since we were in the 6th grade. So middle school me is looking up and he's proud, so that was pretty cool. Another one that I spent just way too much time on was the Collaborative Institutional Training Initiative, the CITI. Now, if any of you guys have done research, the CITI is kind of a way to like validate a research assistant or a researcher through a series of articles and tests. It's very strenuous, but we did it. So just looking at some of my goals beforehand, obviously as a psych major, I've always wanted to be in research, I've always wanted to try it out. Check, done, it was great. I'm really glad I have that under my belt now. Another one was to apply my knowledge of the scientific method, specifically in psychology. Last spring, I took Psych 252. It was research methods in psychology. And then that's where I learned a lot about what I needed to do with this position and actually went straight into it after about a week of being done with my second year. So it was great to apply that knowledge right in my position as a teaching assistant. And then obviously becoming CITI certified was a big one for me as well. So what I like to do is I like to look back at all the goals I made. I'm the type of person to create many goals so that just if you get a couple of them, you have successes. But you know, with those successes, I didn't complete every goal that I wanted to. There's way more than just these 4, I promise. But you get to look at those goals afterwards and you get to assess, hey, maybe I could have done this differently based off the ones you didn't complete. And you get to celebrate some of the successes you did have. So I was excited for that as well, yeah. And then just a quick thank you to all these up here, Dr. Jan Weisberg, my academic advisor. He's the one who kind of like ignited that spark for psychology in me sophomore year, so appreciate you. Dr. Tanya Tompkins, she was fortunate enough or generous enough to let me intern for a research experience here at Linfield. It's such a small research team, so thank you, Dr. Tompkins. Christy McKay has just been incredibly flexible with me and really supportive, and I appreciate that. And lastly, but not leastly, Glenn L. and Helen Jackson Endowment for funding the Presidential Impact Internship Program and getting all these hardworking students some funding. Thank you all.
Now we get to hear another video from Megan.
Hello everyone, my name is Megan Powis. I'm currently a senior here at Linfield University. I'm double majoring in political science and history, and I'm planning to attend law school once I complete my undergraduate degrees. Over this past summer, I was fortunate enough to hold an internship position at a local nonprofit called Your Community Mediation. Your Community Mediation is a small local nonprofit, like I mentioned. It's located in an office building on the 2nd floor overlooking downtown McMinnville on 3rd Street. YCM serves Yamhill County residents by providing a resource to resolve conflict with third-party mediation or facilitation conducted by local volunteers. Through my internship, I was responsible for assisting in case development for ongoing and future mediations. I would answer phone calls, emails, and help organize and schedule mediation sessions. Throughout my time as an intern at YCM, I was granted much more responsibility than I had originally anticipated. I was responsible for answering phone calls and was often the first point of contact towards clients within my first several days on the job. I learned how to communicate effectively both through email and in person, and with the help of my advisor, Chuck Padishall, I learned many basic mediation training skills after reading the training course material and talking through it with him. Through YCM, I was also introduced to many local business members and the community. Local outreach through YCM helped me learn some helpful networking skills that I will definitely take with me in the future. Overall, this internship gave me some much needed professional experience. I will be using the conflict resolution and mediation skills that I learned over the summer during my future at law school, as an attorney, or any other job I may have in the future, as well as in my own personal relationships and communication with others. The time management skills that I learned throughout my time in education at Linfield definitely helped me succeed at this internship. I also think the knowledge that I gained from courses in psychology and political science helped me understand and relate to the people who were responding to conflict in the situations that I dealt with throughout YCM. In this internship, there was a point where we had to move from one office building to another, and this had to be done within a matter of 2 days. Me and my advisor, Chuck, had to work really hard under a lot of pressure, but I was really thankful to be able to create a welcoming and safe space, which is ideal for mediation, and I had a lot of say in how we designed this new space and how we decorated it, which was a really fun and unique experience. Another project I was thankful to be a part of was welcoming the first high school intern to YCM and helping her learn mediation skills in the ways of our office. My role as the high school intern mentor allowed me to solidify what I knew about mediation and translate my skills into teaching somebody else. Lastly, I just wanted to thank the executive director of YCM, Chuck Padishall, and his beautiful dog, Jazzy, who you saw in the later photo, who was with us every day at the office, as well as the volunteer mediation staffs that works for YCM and the board. Lastly, I wanted to give a big thanks to First Federal and the Linfield Career and Development Center for allowing me this wonderful opportunity. Thanks again.
Hello. Yes, good job. I know my left and my right. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to start by saying thank you for taking time out of your day to come to this event. My name is Emma Rissy, and I'm really excited to talk to you about my summer internship with Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum. I thought I would start with a little bit about me, because I think I'm pretty cool. I'm currently a senior history major and international relations minor here at Linfield. I also thought it would be fun to share that this is actually my third internship at Evergreen. My previous two were funded from different sources and locations, so this was the first time doing it with career development, but my third internship there. I also thought I should probably give a little bit of background about Evergreen, since I know not everyone is well versed in aviation museum lore, I guess. They are local, right at the end of Linfield, Cumulus Avenue, I believe is what it is. It is? Okay, great. Their mission statement is inspire humanity for innovation and discovery, preserve aerospace history, and honor those who serve. They also put a heavy focus on STEAM education, which is STEM, but also with art. You know, it's kind of a new term for some people. And of course, they're home to the Spruce Goose, which I included a photo of. It is massive. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go and visit in person. It is truthfully like you cannot. The photo does not do it any justice. It's ginormous, huge, whatever, all of the above. Now let's see, good stuff. This is about my internship, specifically what I did this time. I actually wasn't at the Evergreen campus this summer. I was at home in California. So everything I was doing was like online meetings, things like that. It was definitely a challenge when it came to the social media aspect of my job because I wasn't there to be able to take photos and things like that. And I kind of had to work with what I had available. We didn't really have also like Google Drive, something like that with photos. So I had to kind of work with what I was told that there was available. It was not too difficult for the other aspect of my job working from home because it was just editing. I helped edit news. I mean, just editing. It's not that easy. I helped edit new signage for updated stuff that they're doing, incorporating more diverse people into their public displays. I guess that's a good word for it. I also helped edit commercial documents that I unfortunately cannot share much more about, but I can definitely share more about social media stuff. So here are some posts I'm particularly proud of. This kind of shows how I didn't really have access to photos. I was kind of working with the social media person, his name is Rob. I was working with Rob and kind of saying, here's my ideas for posts and including like the type of photo we should include. So you can kind of see that here. This one is just about 75th anniversary of Space Police is coming up. So I wrote something about that. We found a photo for it. 4th of July, American flag, air show, planes. You kind of get it. These are some more that I was really proud of. This one right here was the first one I did. The one about summer camp. I was really excited about it because I think those are the most fun posts to create, most fun things to promote, things that are like benefiting education and things like that. And then some more fun stuff. Amelia Earhart's birthday was over this summer. We have like some F-15. I'm not a plane person, but I had to be. I became one. So yeah, those were some of the posts I really enjoyed. I know it's kind of not super fun that I don't have like actual photos of me on site, but hopefully these were kind of fun to look at. If you want to follow Evergreen on social media, quick plug for them. If you just look up Evergreen Museum, they will pop up. They're always doing fun stuff. And I help them create posts through the end of the year. So you might still see some of my work up there for the rest of the year. Yeah, I just wanted to say a big thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to Career Development for helping me like fund this program. I love working for Evergreen and I really wanted to work for them again over the summer. And I just feel really blessed that I was able to. And thank you for listening to me blabble on and learning about my summer internship with Evergreen Aviation.
Now would be a fabulous time to go and grab a piece of chocolate cake or a cobbler. If you weren't able to do that when you went through, we're gonna just pause for like 2.5 minutes. Okay, so throw some out those.
How many away from? Okay, just want to make sure. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I just need to take over the theater after this, so I think we're okay now. Exactly. Okay. And so I'm not like, I just want to make sure that we're off. This is why I was like, no, that's.
Now, Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner is what you can hear about. Stuffing. I enjoy the whole. They do a big thing. All the students are invited. No, they actually do it before even. So they do a big night like Thanksgiving dinner. So I always do it.
No, it's not, no, no.
I'm not.
I know, but that's the one.
And so I do it myself.
I feel like, higher.
I'll just mention. My position.
I'll say whenever you guys have. You're always so.
So I had a couple of say, take a power washer. Literally, take run. I had slept through like a whole bag of still had. Scrubbed everything. I had a strong cleaner. I was power washing it. And I just. Probably could get a new barrel deal for that. I'm kind of charging money, so I'm hoping. It's only one person to use that. So.
All right, and our next presentation is a video presentation.
Hi, my name is Sarah Reitmeyer, and I am here tonight because I am doing my environmental health class on Mondays. So unfortunately, I can't be in person. But a little bit about me, my name is Sarah Reitmeyer. I'm from Vancouver, Washington. I'm a senior this year and a public health major with a minor in psychology. My internship was at the Housing Authority of Yamhill County, or we call it HAB for short. My supervisor was Lydia. This is Lydia in this picture. I worked to rewrite many of our manuals for our property managers. We had many property managers throughout Yamhill County who are in charge of overseeing our properties, all the residents, and required to participate and follow all the laws, so their job is pretty big. I went off-site to many of our locations and was able to see what they do throughout the afternoon, what sort of responsibilities they have, and what ways I'm directly helping them by rewriting their training manuals. And I also received a ton of real world and office experience. One of the challenges that I came across was inserting residents into Yardi. Yardi is one of our, we use quite a few different online tools. The Yardi is what we keep track of a lot of our residents with. So once our residents went through all of our screening tests and all of our applications for housing, we needed to insert all of their information into Yardi. This was challenging because Yardi is a sensitive system, and when one thing is wrong, it won't really tell you until you click proceed at the very end, and it'll just kind of be like, no, you don't have enough information, and then you have to backtrack and figure out where you went wrong. This was also kind of around a 50-step process when you look at all the information you're putting in. If you miss a step, it wouldn't let you proceed. And my success moment or my aha moment was just after completing this process many times. After many, many times, I learned it was a lot easier with practice. So I had my own conference room, as you can see here, to myself as my desk and my office space, which is very nice. I didn't expect to have any sort of my own space at all. It was very nice to have my own little cubicle. I learned office small talk, which is very traditional, honestly, and how to keep conversations professional. I also learned that most people don't show up exactly on time in the morning, which I thought was pretty funny. I thought it was kind of like how school is, you show up exactly at 8 or you're just late. Most people rolled in at like 8:05 or 8:10. I was like, it's interesting. What I will use for this internship at Linfield. Kind of switch this question a bit because HYC was on Fox News for a debacle with residents over air conditioner units. As our way of housing this year at Linfield, I have been asked to start reviewing policies from other places to help Linfield write their own policy on AC units. So I now have experience with this area and how to communicate both with people who want AC units, so residents, and businesses who are trying to abide by the law. It's kind of a tricky situation, and we want everyone to come out happy and safe. We don't want anyone, who needs AC units to go without if it's possible to have them. So I've danced this dance before and I've seen it done with, news outlets and everything. So I feel confident that I can help write or even just think about what is needed when writing a policy like this. The impact on my career direction, this has been a wonderful experience for me, sincerely. I've now seen what a 40-hour work week desk job looks like and what the expectations are of workers. And it's reinforced in me the idea that I just want to be helping people. I don't really care specifically how or like what's, it's not that the what that's important, it's just that I'm helping people in some area. And throughout careers, we all change jobs. And if I can help someone here in this situation and later down the line help other people in a different situation, that's just what's important to me. And I'd love to give a really big thank you to First Federal for funding the scholarship, and thank you to HAYC for taking on an intern and some extra work. And I really hope that I was a helping hand in this, and thank you, Linfield, for working with all of the students.
Hello, everyone. My name is Megan Wally. I'm currently a senior here at Linfield University, where I'm double majoring in digital art, journalism, and media studies. And kind of with those two majors, my goal is to go into the world of visual communications. So whether that be graphic design, photography, or some kind of art or creative director for a communications team. I have lots of photos because I was working on a communications team, so they just always have their cameras on. So nice visuals. But my internship was with the Alaska Civic Center, which was conveniently located in my hometown, so that was really nice for me. So for those that don't know, the Alaska Civic Center is a lot of things, but their four big things is that they're a public aquarium, they're a marine research center, they're a marine education center, and then they house a wildlife response program. So a lot of things to cover. But I was working in the marketing and communications department as their intern, working on visual communications. So we could do that graphic design, photography, signage around the building, that kind of stuff. And the nice thing is it connected beautifully to both of my majors. So I was using my digital art degree, or I guess I'm not having I was using my digital art skills, constantly doing graphic design stuff, constantly using Adobe Illustrator and InDesign almost every day. And then on the journalism side, I've used a lot of the skills I picked up photography and then also this basic interviewing and communication skills. So again, this is every day. So while I was there, I got to work on a lot of projects. I was working 40 hours a week for about basically the whole summer. So that leads to a lot of different things. I got to do a lot of graphic work, so that's a lot of what's up here in this corner. Did some video work. That's what these two are. I almost can't really play them. And then some photos just on the next slide, and a lot of the stuff was printed and digital or one or the other. So that was kind of cool to see this wide range of communication tools and how they can be used. But then my big project, or my intern project, was that I actually helped recreate the branding guidelines for their logo. So they just went through a slight rebranding, and they didn't have a branding guideline. So when I got there and I asked for it to do my projects, they were like, well, here's the old one. Good luck. There's some other projects we've done, go based on that. And so then when they asked what I wanted to do, I proposed this project, and they were like, that's a really big project, probably should just focus on the logo and not the whole branding guideline. But this project would be kind of challenging because I proposed the project and then my supervisor, who would have been when I go to for questions, left for a month-long trip, and he's coming back about 2 or 3 days before my internship was over. So it was very daunting, but I just jumped in and I did it, and it was mostly independently, and I just made decisions on my own and wrote down she came back and we tweaked a couple things, and I think it turned out great. I think on a professional level, I have this greatly stacked my portfolio. And now they have a start to this recreation. This is my phone, as I said, it's not a lot, but I would like these ones, so. But my biggest takeaway, and I keep telling this to people over and over again, it really helped solidify my career goals. I got to use these skills that I've learned in class in real life. And then I'm using them every day, and I know that I'm going to continue to use them every day. And why I know that it helps solidify my career goals is because I enjoyed what I was doing, and I looked forward to going to work. There were bad days too. But it was really fun, and I know I'm on the right path. So, and then lastly, just some thank yous to the curriculum office. One, helped me with my resume and application when I was going through that process. And then two, I was awarded the Career Development Impact Internship funding. Thank you. And then two, of course, the Alaska Select Center to allocate grant with my supervisors, and then Dave Hodges and Peter Scully were the other two communication team members. So the five of us were kind of the dream team, worked together all summer. And then just all the staff and employees at the center, everyone was so welcoming, so nice, so kind. And I stayed on as a volunteer, so when I go home for the winter, I get to go back and see them.
Hello everyone, my name is Tanner Coulter. I did my internship at Camp Mesher, and I'm excited to go on this venture into my information. So a little bit about me. Again, my name is Tanner Coulter. I'm an accounting major here at Linfield. I'm also part of the Presidential Impact Internship Program. I'm the president of Delta Psi Delta, and I'm also the IFC Officer for Education and Service. I did my internship at Camp Mesher. It's located in Portland, Oregon, and just newly acquired a firm in Vancouver, Washington. They were founded in 1933. Fun fact, both Mesher and Geffen still work at the firm. They do come in the office every once in a while. It's really fun to see them. And then they have over 140 employees. Being an accounting firm, they do assurance and tax, and their main industries that they're in is construction, manufacturing, professional services, and real estate. This picture right here is from the kickball team. I actually started doing the kickball before I met anyone. And so this was the first time I met everyone. It was a fun time, definitely a fun experience. One of my favorite stories I like to tell about my internship is the time that we went hiking in the gorge. It's not related to accounting, but it's related to accounting. Josie, who was one of leading this, fun event, was going to take us on a 25-minute hike. Turns out it was a 2-hour hike. It took us down the wrong path. It was terrible. Me and 3 others who got left behind. We thought we were lost. We totally thought that we weren't on the wrong path and no one was going to see us. Luckily though, Sandra, who's the one training us, found us and got us back on the right path. But just from this experience, kind of taught me just go for it. One of those things about accounting is you go and try. You learn from failing, you learn from doing. And with accounting, that's really what it is, especially assurance and audit. You don't know what you've done. And so it was definitely one of those things where it really taught me just do things. I remember doing tax firms I've never touched before, a partnership or S corp, but or even doing assurance and doing an audit for a investment fund or even a 401k audit. With my education here at Linfield, I definitely used it. I did political science research methods, and it really helped me in some tax research I did with actually a Linfield alumni about S corps and some of the rules with cumulative investment accounts. And then also the professional and effective communication I've learned at Linfield with talking with professors, being part of the impact internship program. It was really helpful when I had to communicate with in charges about certain issues I had on an assignment or project and how to address those. And then for career impacts, it really solidified I wanted to go for my certified public accountant licensure, which is 4 different exams in a period of 2 months. And it really solidified I want to do that and go into a public accounting job. And lastly, it really made me learn that I like assurance way more than tax, which was not what I expected going into it. And I'm actually really excited because I have accepted a position for November 2023 to actually start in the assurance department with that semester. And so I'm really excited to look forward to that. Some big thank yous. I want to say thank you to Get the Mesher. I know I have Terry and Vicky in person, and then also a couple people online. And so thank you for this amazing experience, and thank you for being able to support me and make sure that I want to do accounting. I want to say thank you to the career development for giving me the tools and then also the support to these internships over the last 4 years. It was an amazing time. I'm definitely looking forward to growing with that. And then thank you to Chris Galway, who is my accounting advisor. Fun fact, I've actually have never had a class with Chris until next semester, which is my last semester. But he has supported me from day one. I came in knowing I wanted to do accounting, and he gave me the right tools and supported me today. Thank you very much.
That's great.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cassie Flagg. I'm a current junior here at Linfield. I'm a chemistry major with a Spanish language minor, and I had the privilege to work at Salem Health as a college ambassador this summer. So my main responsibility was to coordinate with the volunteer services department at Salem Health and kind of just check in with both the patients and the medical staff and just think of ways that I can make their experiences more effective and just overall more positive. And some of my responsibilities, I did some unit prep work. And basically this was just ensuring that all the units had what they needed to provide efficient care to their patients. I've also worked with the food pharmacy there, and that's just bagging and preparing and delivering food bags to patients who come from either low economic backgrounds or don't have a lot of mobility and can't access quality foods. And then lastly, a huge part of my job was just doing some patient interaction. And this ranged from just doing fun activities with the patients to just guiding patients and families throughout the hospital. And overall, just making sure that their experience at the hospital was as enjoyable as it possibly could. So on the professional growth side of things, the number one thing that I would say I probably have learned is to just have the mindset to just grow and learn, because especially being in the medical system, that's the way that we're going to evolve and kind of create a new system of medicine for generations to come. Another thing is just that patient care does not end once hours end. And although it's very important to make sure that the patient is physically cared for, it's even more important to ensure that both their mental and emotional well-being is cared for, in addition to building that trust with your provider. So that's another thing. And then also just developing the skill to take initiative. In the past, I've had a lot of roles where I've done jobs and my jobs have been heavily guided by a supervisor. But in this experience, I basically, from a day-to-day basis, kind of analyzed the situation and just thought of how I could be most productive and efficient in the particular situation that I was in, and how I can just make life a little easier for the staff. So it was a lot of impromptu thinking on my part. And lastly, just medical terminology, because as you get acquainted with the medical system, you kind of just learn tips and tricks and kind of like medical slang for tools, which was definitely something that was really interesting. So the liberal arts education, a big key point for graduating Linfield is ensuring that all the students will be able to integrate with individuals who come from various backgrounds. And that is exactly what I did in my internship experience. On a day-to-day basis, I just interacted with people, and although I had no idea what background they came from, I just kind of rolled with it and made sure to create both an equitable and inclusive environment. And additionally, as I'm a Spanish language minor, my language proficiency was definitely something I utilized.
because there were certain times where I would have to interact with patients that were native Spanish speakers. And if I didn't have those skills to speak Spanish, I wouldn't have been able to help that population of people. And that was definitely a challenge because it can be very intimidating, but it was definitely rewarding after the fact. And just a general reflection, I am still working as a college ambassador for Salem Health. And it's just an experience that it's an experience that really resonates with my core values. I also have learned that I love opportunities that have problem solving and helping struggling populations. It's just something that brings me a lot of joy. And lastly, I would say my overall future goal is to not only work with medicine, but in a more like in the present, I want to gain more medical exposure and explore my career interests. So just a couple of special thank yous. I want to thank Amber Kenny as she was someone who was really helpful in the initial application process to getting into Salem Health. I also want to thank the Salem Health Volunteer Services Department as they have been so patient with me along the process and just learning my new role. I also want to thank the Glenn L. and Helen Jackson Endowment as they are the main source of my internship, like financial source, I should say. And then lastly, both Christy McKay and Michael Hampton, because with a new experience, there are definitely ups and downs, and they have been so reassuring throughout the process and have definitely brought reassurance into my abilities as a professional. So thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Mia Nacarado. I am a junior here and I'm an exercise science major. And I'm going to be telling you about my experience at this beautiful place called Children's Therapy Unit. So like I just said, what is CTU? It's Children's Therapy Unit. It's located in Wall, Washington, and it was founded in 1966. And it's an outpatient clinic of Mary Bridge Children's Hospital. And the people that go there consist of infants, children, and adolescents with special needs of all kinds. It's very, very diverse. So my role at CTU, I was technically a volunteer, but I also got to do a lot of other cool things. But a volunteer duty was cleaning toys and equipment. I got to help out in the orthotics department with cutting plaster and cutting Velcro strips and just helping out with little tasks like that. My favorite part was assisting therapists in their sessions with the patients. So I got to be a ball catcher, an obstacle course maker, board game player, and a distractor for the therapists as they needed to talk to the parents. I would play with the kid and distract. Some challenges I faced, it was very mentally tough to see what some of the children and families have to go through. Non-cooperative patients was also a struggle for sure. Just learning how to get their attention back to what you need to get done. And then some successes was learning about the various therapeutic services there are out there in the world and just expanding my knowledge. And then also understanding the differences among them and narrowing down what my focus is. And then these are some pictures from inside. This is the main therapy gym, and it's just a gorgeous facility with tons of equipment and toys. It's ridiculous. There's so many toys. And then again, another success was making friends. I met patients that I would see every other week, and they would remember me, and it was really sweet. And as well as with therapists, I felt like I was kind of co-workers with them at times. And then an aha moment for me was, okay, occupational therapy. I think I could really see myself doing that. As far as professional development goes, I learned patience, empathy, and passion, and how important that is as a therapist. And then, like I mentioned before, the similarities and differences among the different types of therapy. A big one was obviously networking and connections. I got a lot of the therapist business cards and contacts, so I will have them. And they also really liked me there, so they made it very clear to reach out to them at any point. And then again, patient and family interaction. I got a lot of good experience in that realm. And then here is the sensory motor room, which is what a lot of occupational therapists utilize for their patients. As far as my Linfield education goes, I started off here as an education major and I switched to exercise science because I really wanted that human body learning experience here. But both of the routes led me to this experience here, obviously, because I wanted to work with kids. All of the classes that I've taken here have been applicable to real world situations, such as public health, early education, anatomy, kinesiology, communication, statistics, sociology, and psychology, just to name a few. But again, that's just the beauty of the liberal arts education. I probably wouldn't have taken half of those classes if it wasn't a part of Linfield's curriculum, but I'm very glad I did because it got me to where I am today. And then here is the therapy pool that we have within CTU. As far as my career direction goes, before CTU, my values, when someone would ask me what I wanted to do, I always said I wanted to be on my feet, I wanted to interact with people, and I wanted to make a difference. And after CTU, I still have all of those same values, but I added the love for children. I absolutely adore them. I got to learn the professional aspect, but also play at the same time, and I realized that as a big value for me. And then again, the creativity aspect and the trust aspect between the patient is something that I didn't realize that I valued. And then most importantly was that I could totally see myself doing what they did, and that was huge for me and very comforting for me, because prior to entering the room, I really did not know what I wanted to do. So I want to give a big thank you to Teresa Lerma. She's the volunteer coordinator over at all of Good Samaritan Hospital in Puyallup. The entire CTU staff for being so friendly and welcoming. Inpatient rehab staff, I didn't get to touch on that much, but I also got some inpatient experience with adults. And then of course, Christy McKay and Michael Hampton for encouraging me and getting through everything. My mom for hyping me up to go to CTU. She works with multi-care, so she kind of helped me. And then of course, the Glenn L. and Helen Jackson Endowment for funding. And then, yeah, this is just a picture of the outside of the building too. Again, it's gorgeous and kids.
Our final presentation for the evening.
Okay. All right, my name is Camille Lubach. I'm a studio art and Spanish double major here at Linfield University. This is my last year. I'm here to talk about my summer at Bloom Arts Magazine in Santa Barbara, California. Before I begin, I would just like to thank everybody that made this possible. First of all, the director of Bloom Arts Magazine, Deborah Garrett, thank you for taking me on. Christy and Michael, thank you for supporting me and for, I don't know, encouraging me to take part in the impact leadership and getting me to this point. And thank you everybody. Bloom Arts Magazine, a great place. It is located in the central coast of California. It's relatively new. We've had about 5 issues come out, and they highlight local artists in the central coast region. I first wanted to highlight just this kind of full circle moment that I had here at the Arts Fund. This was my first, little gig. I wanted to interview artists at an Arts Fund exhibition, and they actually funded a mentorship that I did in the past. So that was lovely. And then I got to see the new and thriving art scene in my hometown, which was exciting to see as I've been abroad for a while. And I also wanted to highlight P.P. Russell. This is her painting on the far left. She turned 100 years old, a local artist in my town, and I actually got to go on a little scavenger hunt to see her art at several galleries and write about it and go to her birthday party. So that was a all-around good time. Part of what I did was I did some web design using the Squarespace platform, and I uploaded all of these. This one is mine, but then I got to design these articles. That was a rewarding, challenging, and cool process. I also wanted to talk about the Rondo, which was another of my big projects. The Rondo is an arts collective established 10 years ago, started by Gary Chait. Here's one of his monotypes. And through this exploration of this collective, I got to meet Michael Long, who makes these incredible dioramas. Yes, that's a diorama. got to meet Ethan Turpin, who's a forest fire activist and visual artist. Matthew Straka, I got to see another one of his shows after doing this interview. And this was a very challenging piece because it's very eclectic in terms of the artists that are in the collective. So I had a hard time putting it into a single piece. But it was very rewarding in the fact that I believe it's going to be on the print issue coming out this fall. This is just to give you an idea of how eclectic it is. This is the entrance to the space in downtown Santa Barbara. And there's the exterior. So I'd actually walked by this building my whole life. I had no idea what was going on. In terms of takeaways, well, first of all, it was incredible using, my Linfield education in terms of writing skills and critical thinking and writing efficiently and well. That was a challenge going in. I wasn't sure I'd be able to get away with it, but over doing a lot of different articles and having a lot of interviews, I became a little bit more efficient. Specifically, I took a book arts class here, book arts that is, at Linfield, and that led me to really appreciate this experience I had with a local artist, Mary Keebner, who does these hand-done art books, and she actually later came to my art pop-up and bought these. That was really cool. I got to appreciate her work on a much higher level because of my Linfield. All in all, it was an incredible experience. It was a rush, I would say, meeting so many people, getting more in touch with the arts community in my hometown. And I'm very grateful for this. With my sister and I, who I haven't seen in 4 years, at my art pop-up at the very end of the summer. Thank you very much.
Amazing work by these incredible students. Thank you all for your contributions to liberal arts education. It takes all of us to do this, working with the student skills. An impressive job by everybody. Also, I want to note that many of the students found these internships on their own or created them. And that also is specialty to Linfield University, and empowered the students to go find settings that match their career, their education, professional goals. An important piece that's unique to us. We need to thank Christy McKay for her hard work. Thank you so much for your support. First Federal, again, thank you so much for impacting the community. Oh, go eat some more dessert.
Thank
Thank you all very much.
I know, right? Where's the green boxes?